Welcome back, everybody. We're here at the Deutsche Goldmesse. It is day 2, and my name is Kyle Hoffman. I'm the CEO of the Soar Financial Group, and I'm joined by Keith Neumeyer, President and CEO of First Majestic, and our closing keynote. Keith, it's great to see you.
Well, thanks, Kai. It's great to be here, and thanks for the invite.
Appreciate it. No, thanks for coming out. Thanks for being the closing keynote speaker. Appreciate the support. But this is the first time we're seeing each other in person in a long, long time as well, I think.
I think you're right.
So, I mean, we could see the excitement here as well. Like, people were happy.
There was a nice vibe, for sure. And it's good to see a lot of faces, familiar faces. We saw a number of shareholders as well.
Yeah. No, positive vibe, I think, translates also from the markets. So we were really fortunate to catch a good week in the precious metals. Gold is peaking. Silver is back over $25.
Yeah.
How happy are you about that?
Well, let's hope not. Gold's not peaking. Let's hope gold's just starting.
Okay, good language barriers on my part. But no, we've had some positive momentum. So silver is trending back over $25. What's driving the rally in commodity prices right now?
Well, I think it's just the whole inflation trade is on full time, and this whole transitory language that's been coming out of the Fed for the last several months. I think people are waking up to the fact that this might not be transitory. And if you look at silver, it's really one of the only commodities that really hasn't moved. Uranium's moved, oil's moved, zinc has moved, pretty well everywhere. And look at the grains, the lumber, beef, and the meats and so on. Everything's moved, and silver's just kind of been languishing. I think it's just finally catching up.
Interesting. Do you think we'll see a silver squeeze 2.0 in that regard as well? Because now it seems like the generalists are finally catching or paying attention because of the high CPI numbers.
Yeah. Look, it's a very tiny market, where the miners are producing 800 million ounces of silver a year, and it's been dropping, and we're at 5-year lows on silver production annually, and the paper markets have been kind of driving the price, and I think demand just has overwhelmed the paper markets, and I'm quite positive.
Yeah, you just made a couple of really good points also in your keynote about supply and demand, and EVs, 10% of the market, solar panels, 12% of the market, and that's all growing, but silver supply is not growing. How do you see that playing out?
Yeah, well, look, I'm a believer in the market. I think supply-demand fundamentals ultimately prevail, but it hasn't, of recent recent years. The paper market's really been driving price, and there's an attitude among the traders who trade these markets, and they kind of know, they get comfortable with the trading range, and then they know when to sell, they know when to buy, and got these guys sitting in high towers in Toronto and New York that these are traders that are trading behind desks, and all it is a number on a screen for them. So and they get very used to it, but all of a sudden things change. You have two industries now, as you pointed out, consuming over 20% of the world's supply of silver. These industries didn't exist 10 years ago. And these two industries are growing, and with the new Green Deal, they're only going to grow even much more. So that demand for physical metal is going to overwhelm the paper market.
Yeah, and it's demand that's being sucked out of the market in general. It's not coming back. It's not like investments that are sitting somewhere in somebody's safe. They're disappearing because they're being used.
This is being consumed in products that are not going. There's no recycling. And a solar panel's life is apparently 25 years. So, if I just saw an article on Kitco the other day, or I think yesterday, where they're predicting 140 million ounces of silver are going to be consumed in 2022. That's next year.
That's a lot of silver. That is a lot of silver. How much silver's in a car again?
Well, about a kilo. The car manufacturers are paranoid about telling you, but you could figure it out. You look at an electric car, 6,000 batteries. Figure out how many connections there are, and each connection is so much. And I think a kilo is a pretty good estimate.
You made another comment during your presentation, which caught me a bit off guard because I didn't expect it. It was just that silver's never going to be money again.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where's that comment come from?
I just don't think there's enough silver around. Because you go back as when we were kids. Silver was in our pocket. In the form of coinage.
I just bought some actually. I bought some silver quarters.
Oh, really?
Silver quarters, yeah.
So. And that was common. But there was no real commercial use for it. It was really used as coinage and photography, and that was really about it. This is before computers. But when computers and technology started to take over and governments abandoned silver because it just got too expensive and replaced it with other metals for coinage, it took some time to get that silver pulled off the market, and governments sold their silver hoards, and eventually technology consumed it all up. And now above ground supplies are dwindling quite rapidly, and there's no silver around anymore. It's
interesting because some of the throat squeeze, silver squeeze, big reset community says, well, We need a new monetary system. So it's going to be without silver?
You know, that's my prediction. I know I'm a little bit out of the, I'm not in the norm for sure, because a lot of people do think, call silver money, and it used to be money, but I think gold's going to be money. I always look at gold as the granddaddy of all currencies, and you see central banks buying gold, but you don't see central banks buying silver, and quite honestly, if a central bank started buying silver, you'd probably see silver go up quite dramatically, because there's just so little silver around.
Yeah, and it's cheaper, much, much cheaper per ounce, obviously, than gold, right?
Right.
And you just bought a gold mine, by the way, to your point,
Yeah.
that it's happening in this space as well. And did that have a factor, like gold turning into currency again? Did that play a role? Just curious.
Well, not really. Look, I'm always trying to look for ways to improve the business and grow the business. And, I was really excited about getting into Nevada. If Jerritt Canyon was a silver mine, I would be jumping all over myself. But it's a great mine that we think we can really improve over time, and that's why we bought it.
No. Just curious now, like since the tide is changing a little bit in the market, it seems like the last 3-4 weeks, how did your phone calls change? Who's calling? Are you getting different phone calls than before from investors?
I think there's an attitude change. People are a lot more. You saw it at the conference. You can see the vibe here, and now even in Colorado Springs, I was there about a month ago at the conference, and even though a lot of people aren't traveling, you can just see that there is an attitude out there. I think this whole money printing. I think generally speaking, the big institutions were bought in to the whole transitory trade and the fact that inflation is not there for real, and maybe the governments are going to stop printing money and they're going to start buying, or reducing their balance sheets. I think they're waking up to the fact that that's not going to happen. These governments are going to continually following the bad practices they've been following for the last 20 years, and it's going to get worse, and there's really no end in sight.
Okay. Last question, and I have to ask it. Where's silver going to end this year?
I hate making predictions, but let's call it $28.
That's not too bad. That sounds quite realistic, actually, with the momentum behind us right now. Fantastic. Keith,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us. I know you have to plane to catch now, so thanks for coming out. And,
Well, thanks again,
appreciate it.
Kai, for the invite.
Thanks for the support. Everybody else, thanks for watching. This was SF Live on site here at the Deutsche Goldmesse. Thanks for joining us. We've just wrapped up 2 days of presentations, keynotes, and much, much more. And stay tuned for more footage on our channel. Make sure to follow us here on YouTube and Twitter as well. Leave a comment, leave a like, and we'll be back for more.